Rome wasn't white, it wasn't silent, and it wasn't born as ruins. What you see today are the bones. What existed then was a living system. In the early 2nd century, Rome pushed toward 1 million people, a megacity of rooftops, smoke columns, carts below, and constant motion. Before sunrise, ovens glowed. Bakers worked in the dim light, pulling loaves from stone mouths while the street still yawned awake. Nearby, iron rang on iron. Metal workers hammered in narrow lanes where sound snapped back and forth, sharp, fast, unavoidable. And the city was colored. Deep reds, ochres, blues. Temples weren't bare. Statues weren't blank. Rome was saturated. At street level, it smelled like 1 million lives compressed. Animals, smoke, food, sweat, and waste. Grandeur, with friction underneath. Most Romans didn't live in villas. They lived stacked in insulae, 5-6 stories high. The city felt vertical, crowded, and precarious. One lamp dropped, one spark in the wrong stairwell, and fire could erase a district in hours before help even arrived. Through it all, Rome moved. Laborers forced paths through crowds, messengers slipped like knives through gaps, merchants shouted over each other. At the center stood the Forum Romanum, Rome's political heart. Law, favors, and futures traded beneath marble colonnades. Ritual held the city together too. Incense, controlled gestures, solemn faces. Belief made public one, even as the harsher reality stayed close. Above it rose the Capitoline and Jupiter's temple, dominant against the sky. A reminder, Rome ruled with force, and with a story of inevitability. Under Trajan, that story almost felt true. The empire stretched from Britain to the east, frontiers most citizens never saw. But stability wasn't magic, it was supply. Grain ships at Ostia, sacks on shoulders, cranes groaning. Logistics as survival. Climb the Palatine, and the city changes tone. Noise softens, water glides in quiet atriums, power becomes private. At banquet tables, provinces pour into silver cups. And even in luxury, you can feel it. Alliances shifting behind polite smiles. Security isn't guaranteed, only negotiated. The Praetorian Guard answers to the emperor, not the Senate. Corridors remember that. Rome wasn't merely a capital, it was a machine. And machines require systems that work quietly until they don't. Beneath the streets, waste moved through stone channels. Damp, dark, practical, an underground heartbeat most never saw. Above ground, aqueducts carried fresh water in impossible volumes, striding across valleys like arteries feeding the city's appetite. Baths rose like palaces. People didn't just wash, they negotiated. In steam and marble, information traveled faster than announcements. Roads bound the empire together. Along them marched disciplined legions, the force that made comfort possible and resistance expensive. And then, spectacle. The Colosseum swallows tens of thousands. Vendors shout. Entrances funnel bodies inward, anticipation thick in the air. Inside, the seating is a map of the social order. Emperor above, elites near, everyone else stacked higher, each tier a lesson in belonging. Below the sand, cages and lifts hold animals and waiting fighters. When trapdoors open, violence arrives on schedule, funded, staged, public. This isn't chaos, it's choreography. Athletic, brutal, controlled. One fighter seeks fame, another survives captivity inside a Roman script. Then the gesture, mercy or death. The crowd reacts as one body, watching power become visible, undeniable. The city has other valves. At the Circus Maximus, factions turn identity into noise. Blues and greens, dust and speed, tension emptied into spectacle. But every cheer is paid for elsewhere. On cold frontiers, in mines and quarries, in caravans crossing harsh land, extraction. Feed Rome, or face Rome. The Annona keeps the city upright. Interrupt it, and hunger becomes politics. Fast, loud, contagious. Inside the insulae, life stays fragile. Cramped rooms, shared corridors, thin margins. Disease moves easily, so does panic. The vigils rush smoke and sparks, bucket lines, pumps, shouted orders. From within, Rome often feels one accident away from catastrophe. In districts like the Subura, taverns overflow, dice, laughter, arguments. Crime simmers in the shadows, and the night street never fully sleeps. Baths, taverns, arenas, places to vent without breaking the core. And inside them, the real engine turns. Rumor, perception, reputation. Administration spreads, and so does corruption. Wax tablets pile up, bribes pass quietly, and messengers ride hard to hold it together. Monuments insist on eternity, arches declaring victory, columns spiraling campaigns upward, statues staring out as if stone can freeze time. At night, Rome glows, torchlit corridors, banquet lamps, a sea of flickering lights. It looks unstoppable because it's running at full capacity, and it requires constant fuel. Grain, gold, labor, loyalty, fear, spectacle. Remove one input and strain spreads through the whole system. A storm at sea, empty shelves, murmurs turning to anger. Then guards form a line, because stability is always one shipment away. The baker sees opportunity, the gladiator sees survival. The senator sees influence, the insular resident endures. The emperor sees legacy and demands the city agree. Rome's systems echo forward, law, administration, architecture, arches becoming domes, tablets becoming books, a blueprint carried across centuries. Now tourists walk through the forum's remains. Grass grows where senators argued. Restore the color, listen for the voices, and you see it, not ruins, a machine.